With everything out now, get on the torque wrench, big long bar on the flywheel. You can see it is absolutely seized solid, so I'm afraid that is toast.
And welcome to Venice. Well, the weather is changing and I would call this autumn.
Yeah, and that means the start of boat jobs season. On the misty days that we get here, the cooler days, I tend to try and get a few inside jobs done.
But the sun does often come out, so we can go sightseeing. I hope you like the film.
Coming up, boats and people watching in Venice. Installing a new comms system on Fair Isle, and racing to the end of the season in multi-yacht style. Sightseeing in Venice is best from the water. We're finding our way around using the vaporettos. The mix of different islands and marinas is complex.
Now this is quite a spectacular view of St Mark's Square. Across the canal with all the taxis and things going by, and if you want to, you can have your boat here. This is a marina. A lovely view, but a little bit rocky, because every time a big boat goes by, all the waves come through.
Not great for liveaboards then, but home to some beautiful Italian wooden boats. The Giorgio Maggiore Island is famous for its 17th century church, with its own version of the Last Supper. And what everyone comes here for, the magnificent tower, which gives us a bird's eye view of the islands. All of them. There's Fair Isle on Certosa Island. Talking of Certosa, let me introduce you to our neighbours on the island, Classic Boats Venice, a company which restores, sells and rents out classic wooden boats. Ever since we arrived here, I've been watching these craftsmen painstakingly bring old boats back to life. It's a real art.
We believe in classic craftsmanship combined with sustainability. So we use sustainable solutions on all of our boats. So that would be hybrid solutions or electric engines, but also part of that is wood. I think as a sustainable solution for the future in terms of recycling. We tend to take old wooden boats and just discard them and think, okay, these are just pieces left to time and can't be used again. So what we look at is maybe some old boats that have been discarded and forgotten about, but have some value that we know that we can bring up to a certain beauty that has been forgotten, bring it back to its former beauty, and maybe even better. So we look at these disregarded boats and give them modern solutions, but also use their old livable wood, because wood is always breathing and living, and we bring it back to life and give it a second chance. And it's also kind of I think a nice visual look. If Venetians see tourists on a traditional Venetian boat, it's like seeing a 1960s Cadillac in California. People respond to it and have very positive feelings about it. I think that this is fantastic. This is, for me, where the Venetians come to hang out, to relax. They don't really go to drive their boats inside Venice. That's not really the relaxing vibe. They come out here because it's quiet, there's no tourists out here. This is the island of Vignole we're passing through right now. So I would say anywhere in the northern lagoon, that's where kind of happiness starts, and where the real Venetian nature starts. It's out there in the northern lagoon. Sant'Erasmo, Vignole, Burano, Mazzorbo, Torcello.
So this is where happiness starts, on a wooden boat navigating through the channel and out onto the water to see the sun go down.
Today is a really beautiful day.
Can't argue with that.
The pile of cardboard is growing. Deliveries are coming in. In fact, actually, I've got it all in one delivery because I had Ben from Pro Marine put all the bits together for me, which was really good prices as well. So I'll put his link below. It's a useful way of getting things through in one go. And yeah, the main thing that I got through was a whole new system for comms. But I mean, also there was other bits and pieces, the usual stuff, some filters, a new pump for the domestic hot water and cold water systems. But yeah, this is the exciting bit, and I will do a tech video on it. We've talked about what we had before, which is a Wirie, and that sits on the backstay here. It worked okay for a couple of years and then started going a bit iffy and then died completely. And actually, when you look at it closely, the components aren't that good. And when you compare it to what we've got here, I mean, it's just much chunkier, much better made. And I mean, these are the aerials for the 4G, which in the Wirie are just two tiny little ones inside a box. So a whole different class really. And that's the one for the Wi-Fi, which should go on the arch at the back there. So hopefully we should get Wi-Fi at quite a big distance. So we get this fitted. I'm just going to sort of jury rig it to start with and make sure it works well, and then actually find a place to put it and then go through all the hassle of routing the cables, which is always the worst bit.
But there are worse places to work on a boat. There's always something to see, and it's a joy wandering around the island. Autumn has come to Venice. I enjoy the seasons, and being here you get a good connection with the land, something that's missing sometimes on a boat. The smell of the woods and the distant sound of church bells is something I'll always remember from Certosa. Judy at the moment is getting a bit of a taste of winter, having a brief visit to the UK before lockdown.
One of the main jobs I want to get done while Judy's not here is the wiring. Not because of the outside stuff, really just because of what happens when you have to do stuff inside. You have to pull everything out of everywhere and find ways to get wires through, which is never ever easy. I've done the easy bit on the outside here. I've got to seal these in properly, but they're the two aerials for the 4G, which is fairly easy to run down through the doghouse and in. I will have to take the headlining off inside, so that'll make a mess. But the main one is this aerial big beast for the Wi-Fi, which is going to go on the back arch here. I've got a bit of wood that I've made up for it. I'll go up there and actually go underneath that one and get fitted onto there. And then I've got to find a way of getting the cable down and through and inside. Well, I think I'm going to have to move on to plan B. Problem with this was that this is where I wanted to go through the tow rail and through the bullocks, and it's just too difficult to do. There is far too much stuff that'd have to come out to get through that way. So instead of putting it up on the arch, what I could do is have it here on the dorade. Obviously not as good because it's not as high. Look at this dorade, by the way. If you watch the winter jobs video, I polished all these up and lacquered them, so that lacquer's not going to get used again. It was supposed to be good and really isn't. So if I go through the dorade instead, it means I don't have to come through here, which is where I was going to take it. So it was going to come all the way under and through there, or higher up through here if I could get it in, but I just can't get it to that position. So the dorade is here. Let's take that off and it will end up coming through there, and then I can feed it through the gap between the headliner and that. It has to go all the way through then to the saloon. Obviously that's easier said than done as well. I've got the special jiggly device to go through, although that was a bit light, so I've been going with something a little bit heavier to try and push through. But the problem I've got is it's not even reaching the inspection hatch, which is here. So it's getting stuck somewhere in there. I can't really see where, and this is what I really need a second person for, to sort of watch and see if they can see it and grab it. But I haven't got that, so what I've done is put a GoPro in there, and I've got that on my iPhone here, so I can jiggle away through there until I see it on the iPhone and know where it is, and then see if I can catch it. That's the idea anyway. So I'll see you in a few hours, I should think. Okay, it's not going well. Trying to get the pilot cable down through there wasn't working. I wasn't seeing it on the image from the GoPro, so I thought, okay, I'll try something stiffer and I'll actually get the cable itself that's going to do it, because at least, you know, I might be able to get some direction with that. But it goes in that far and actually gets stuck, because somewhere around here it's too thin. You can't really see it. You can get your hand in there and just about feel that there's something here, a rib that's low down. So I'm not going to get this cable through. So on to plan C. Okay, plan C. I think this one should work. I've got a way through here, an established way through, which is the deck gland, which takes all the stuff off the backstay, the radar, the existing Wirie, that's the one that's coming off, and the solar panels. And I've got to put another couple of solar panels on anyway. So if I put a bigger unit on there, it can definitely go through that way, and then instead of having it up here, I can, because all this is coming off, it can go through there, so I can mount it here between the two. So it should just sort of go, it'll go where that is, underneath that, and yeah, it should sit then between the two solar panels. And the downside is that it's going to be a longer run. It's not going to, I'm not going to get the box as far forward as I wanted it, because I've only got 10 meters of cable, but that's okay. I'll find a place to mount it, and then I can extend it to where I want it with the Ethernet cables. And the upside is that it is higher again. So yeah, let's go with that.
The afternoon's chore is a trip to the shops, but when your route is the #1 Vaporetto that goes the whole length of the Grand Canal, it's not so bad. A slow ride that stops everywhere, but gives a unique perspective to this wonderful city. Job done. And time to put the finishing touches to the installation before the sun goes down.
So that's it, it's all in, it's all working. I'd be lying if I said it was easy to do. It wasn't. It might be if you're really good at IT, but I'm certainly not. So yeah, I struggled and went through the. Luckily, you've got support with Digital Yachts. They've got a guy called Paul who you know, was very helpful on emails and things, but actually it stumped even him. It couldn't get through to the local portal here. It's a captive portal on the internet, and he couldn't do it. So what happened was in the end he made me change the DNS settings on an iPhone to make it push through, and it works. So you need that, you need that sort of backup, I think, as I say, unless you really know your way around this. And what you end up, I'll go through this in the technical video, but some interfaces where you can go through and change things, your different settings, make it work how you want it to work. It's not brilliantly well set out there. Their software is clunky, it's complicated. I think, even if you knew your way around it, it's complicated. I mean, for instance, to change, I can change this over from being on the Wi-Fi here, which is that dot, and if I wanted it then to fall over, the failover to the 3G, so if it lost the Wi-Fi, it automatically goes to the 3G. I can put that out. Now, well, that's something you want to use all the time, and you want to switch around, and it's sort of buried in the just these different menus, of which there are hundreds. So yeah, it's difficult to find what you want sometimes. I still haven't found actually how to change the channel frequency. I mean, if you end up, I can see here I'm on channel 6. That's the Wi-Fi from the marina here is channel 6. If it happened to be on channel 11, which I know is the channel that my Wi-Fi is on, I might want to change it. Well, I've actually been through this. I'm going to have to ask them how to change the channels on this, because it's really not obvious. So it'd be nice to have easier to use software is what I would say. But yeah, I mean, the system is working brilliantly. I can show you where I put it. It's the box that gives me Wi-Fi is now in here. It's only got the one aerial on now because it's got 2 wires going through it to the big aerials for the 4G for the mobile broadband. So yeah, the first box with the big piece of coax coming from the Wi-Fi aerial only just got to the back of this bulkhead. I was going to try and get it in here and then get that behind the TV, but because of the way I had to route it, it's shorter. So that's fine, that's in there, and then the Ethernet cable comes through to this box. And if I go over here to the TV, it's a smart TV, so I can plug an Ethernet cable into that. I need to get a longer one. Judy's bringing one, but for the moment I can just plug it through there to test it. If we turn it on, and we can see it's connected to Fair Isle. So there you go, that's connected. Whatever you want, BBC iPlayer, Netflix, you can go through. Obviously we'd only use this in the marina, all the mains stuff with Wi-Fi, but the unit obviously will give a Wi-Fi hotspot around the whole boat. So when we're at anchor, we'll just, we can, with a laptop and the Wi-Fi connection via 4G, do the same thing. It's using your 4G, not a Wi-Fi. And there might be some occasions where, because we've got that high-powered Wi-Fi, we can grab a Wi-Fi off a bar on the beach or whatever, and if it's fast enough, we can stream through that, do the same sort of thing, just on the laptop on the table, and that's how we'd sort of normally do it on at anchor. But yeah, this, if you're in a marina for any length of time, it's good to have this.
While Steve's been working inside the boat, outside Venice is getting ready for the annual Veleziama multi-yacht regatta, an end-of-season festival of sailing. Many of the yachts are gathered here in Certosa, with skippers on 20-foot to 70-foot boats, all planning to make their way to St Mark's Square in the morning to race from the same start line. "200 yachts, all with their sails up in a perfect breeze. Quite a spectacle." The race was won by the British boat Prosecco Dock, a name which inspires the evening of celebration on Certosa.
This is one of the more major things I had to look at, just find out what's happening with this generator. It stopped working when we were in Croatia, actually, just before we got to here. It was meant to start it and wouldn't turn over. So I've taken the glow plugs out. I did that at the time just because I thought it might be hydrolocks, and I didn't want water sitting in there. It's the most common thing really with boats like this. It's difficult with the exhaust. You get back pressure, and if you're starting them up too much, it sucks in some water and it'll go into the cylinder head. It causes a lot of damage if you leave it there. So I took these out, but it wasn't that, it's not hydrolocks. So I thought, well, the only other thing really it could be is starter motor. So I've now taken the starter motor out of it, because sometimes that will engage but then get stuck. But if you then, with everything out now, get on the torque wrench, big long bar on the flywheel, you can see it is absolutely seized solid. So I'm afraid that is toast. I've already spent, it's a couple of grand really on this thing. It's been the only thing really on this boat that's been a pain right from the start. Had to have a new cylinder head. All sorts of things have gone wrong with it. And I was planning on getting rid of it, but just not yet, because we don't use it that much, but we do have to use it from time to time. We haven't got our energy needs as such that, sometimes, certainly on cloudy days, if we're on anchor for a bit and we haven't used the engine, we need to run it for a few hours to get the batteries back up. Our house bank, probably isn't big enough. It could be bigger, and in future, I was thinking, well, once we're ready, we've got more solar, better batteries, more batteries. We could probably do without it, but as I say, that's not yet. And I was hoping that it'd last a couple of years, and maybe the lithium technology would be more trustworthy. I don't particularly trust it at the moment. I know a lot of people do. They just slot in lithium, but I don't particularly want to do that. I did look at Firefly batteries, which are a very good, safe alternative, and you can run them all the way down to almost flat. You see, you don't have to sort of just go to 50% like you do with any lead acid battery. But the cost of delivery from them was just huge. It's over £1,000. You have to get them from the States. So I've got to scratch my head now and think what we're going to do next season, because we will get another solar panel. That'll help us a bit, but it's going to be times when we're probably going to have to rely on the engine alternator for charging, which isn't a good thing. So I have to have a think about that. Luckily, we have got all winter to get these problems sorted, but the list is ever growing, and the situation in Europe at the moment, I'm slightly worried about getting parts in and out on time. So
yeah, Italy, of course, is not locked down yet anyway, and we hope it won't be. But when I came through from England, I just had a COVID test. It was negative, and I just came straight through the airport. No isolation. It was great, and I think actually other countries should learn from Italy.
They seem to be very good at that. And when we first came in, same thing, and it's free and it takes 20 minutes. Yeah, seems like a very good system. I hope that they don't get locked down here, but if they do, at least we're in a better position than last time. Last time we were, for the people that saw the earlier episodes, we were stuck in the Mar Menor at anchor. So getting gas was an issue, getting water was an issue. Here, we've got water at the end of the pier, and we've got the gas at the marina office.
And we have a park that we can run around. So exercise isn't a problem either. And I am told by the people here that the sun does shine in November. Next week it's predicted to be quite sunny, so we can go sailing. Yeah,
whenever the sun comes out. So we have sort of alternate misty times is what you get here in November. It's quite atmospheric, but there's no wind with it, it's just mist. So as soon as we get some sun and a little bit of breeze, we'll go off and have a sail.
So thank you for watching. Thank you to our patrons and our subscribers, and we'll put out another video in a couple of weeks.
Yep, hopefully in 2 weeks' time. Thanks for watching.